Eu sou o avatar da Sara Santos da Instinct e nesta entrevista conversei com Sasha Stiles, poeta, artista e investigadora em inteligência artificial. O seu trabalho liga a poesia à tecnologia, explorando como humanos e máquinas podem criar juntos.
Innovation Talk.
I think we often do sort of regard poetry as very human, but I often feel that we don't recognize that poetry is actually also very much about algorithm. Poetry is really structured by pattern and code and form in that way. So I think there's actually something deeply technological about poetry too. So really, it's fueled by the interplay of emotion and logic. So I think, that to me is a very important piece to begin with. And I think that maybe holds some lessons for us in terms of, thinking about how we build technologies, how we might be able to infuse our technologies with a little bit more poetry, a little bit more artfulness, and vice versa. How can we, begin to sort of bring together the conversations around art and technology and realize that they're actually maybe not as separate or as different as we sometimes think they are.
E o trabalho de Sasha será arquivo do presente ou a primeira biblioteca do futuro?
A lot of my work, especially the work that I do with binary code, is really about sort of creating artifacts of the moment that we're in, and really moments that are part of a longer trajectory of the history of language, from the earliest moments and traces of human imagination, which we still have on record from thousands of years ago, to, hopefully things that our distant ancestors will be reading thousands of years into the future. So I think and I hope that it's both. I hope that I'm, able in my work to record some experience of what we are going through now, this very sort of profoundly transhuman moment, the dawn of the age of generativity, which is really a seismic shift in who we are as human beings. And I really see it as my role as a poet, a contemporary poet, to try and reflect that and to capture that and embody that as much as I can in the work that I do.
A tecnologia é capaz de fazer com que a arte seja acessível a toda a gente, sem perder a sua essência?
Well, one of the things that I really think is important is that, technology is so dominant in our culture right now, where so many of us are creatures of technology. We, rely on our digital devices. We communicate through social media. We really are profoundly technological entities right now. And I think that, art really has a duty to sort of reflect the moment that we're in and to reflect our concerns. And so to be human today really has a lot to do with this grappling, with technology, with our relationship to technology. So I think that's very, important, at least to me, in the work that I do. So I think something that's wonderful about technology is that so many of us do have access to it in a very regular way, right? So many of us are walking around with these screens in our pocket, or we're, walking by billboards on a daily basis. And so if we're able to put art in those places, that can be a really profound way of enabling lots and lots of people to have encounters with art and with poetry. And so that's one of the reasons why I enjoy making a lot of the work that I do, creating poems that are not meant to sit still on a page, but that can actually come to life in a public space. I think, that to me is a kind of poetry that is meant to be accessible, is meant to be experienced, is meant to be sort of lived through, and to me that feels very reflective of the moment that we're in, a moment that's very much defined by these kinds of connective and communal technologies.
E o futuro, como será?
Well, I think the arrival of artificial intelligence is a really profound moment in human history. So, I've been working with AI for many years now, and I've really sort of been witnessing and kind of living through this really seismic shift. The rise of generative tools, the fact that we're able to now create with algorithms in the way that we can, the fact that we are really able to co-create with intelligent machinic minds, I think opens us up to new ways of seeing the world and new ways of understanding ourselves that we've never had access to before. So I can't help but think that is going to have really long-lasting and very, very deep impacts on all modes of expression. Not just art, but forms of communication and science and technology, and really all of it.
Supertoast by Instinct.